Hi, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Evolving Women. Teresa Lysam with my amazing guest co host, Kaye Brundidge. Hi, Kaye. Thanks so
Hi,
much for being here. I'm
absolutely.
so looking forward to our conversation.
Yes, I am too. It will be fun.
It will be. It will be very insightful for our listeners and our viewers, I'm sure. So, Kay has unique perspectives that she has woven together into a beautiful service in the way she serves the world. She has taken her background in the medical field and her energetic perspective, her intuitive perspective. I like to think of it as the sciencey side and the, I'm going to say woo-woo side, but we could substitute any word there, and have brought them together, which I just find fascinating. So I'd love to hear more about how that has happened for you and what has brought you here to this point in your life, Kay.
Sure. Yeah, it's been an unusual journey, but in certain respects, I guess I could say that I came by it naturally because I'm also a music major.
Oh,
So I've
wow.
always been a left brain, right brain kind of synergy person.
Mm-hmm.
um, and majored in music in undergrad as well as majoring in chemistry. So I really did have both together as I went on to medical school. Um, it was always one of those things where in anesthesiology it pays to have eyes in the back of your head. I also had the ears to go along with it because I could listen to changes in heart rhythm on the monitors or changes in tone on the pulse oximeter that let me know that something wasn't maybe quite right, even if I was involved in looking at something else.
Mm-hmm.
So it has always for me kind of been a synergy of the senses
I
because that's
love that.
what it is. And synergy of my medical skills as an anesthesiologist, and even as I got further training in neuroanesthesia. So I used to do anesthesia strictly for brain and spine surgery, but
Wow.
that actually informed how I practice non-neurosurgical anesthesia in terms of being very precise and being able to process information coming in from a wide range of sources and then deciding on a course of action for my patients. Um,
Wow.
yeah, the right brain part of it, the music part of it is there. And also what has been there is that I've been a medical intuitive my whole life. The difference was I didn't know that that was what it was called because I was the kid that would tell my parents, Mrs. Such and such has such and such and such going on.
Mm.
You should really go and see her doctor. And this is a kid
Wow.
who had no medical training and
Wow.
I mean, I was a child. I
I
mean,
was going to say, and who would want to listen to a child?
exactly. So,
Like, yeah.
yeah, and it was a little odd, and I realized probably pretty early on after doing it for 2 or 3 years that everybody is not hearing and
Mm.
doing these things. So
That's,
kind of shoved it in a corner and it's like, okay,
mm-hmm.
let's not talk about that because it makes people uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
um but kind of what started coming out when I was done with anesthesia residency and into my fellowship was, and this sounds really weird, a chance encounter when the Dalai Lama was in town giving a lecture at the main campus at Washington University in St. Louis, which is where I did my medical and anesthesia training. And he had an interest in the brain. So he came to observe a seizure surgery where I was doing anesthesia. And it was like a little nudge that, hey, there's another part of you that is there. And
Mm-hmm.
it was the part of me that felt him energetically come into our surgical suite without ever being able to see him.
Wow.
And I can tell you that there is a sense of peace and love and tranquility that rides before that man like a
Mm.
wave.
It looks like there would be. Yeah, I totally believe that.
Yeah, it was mind-boggling because I'm working away and we have this teeny tiny window for patient privacy and
Hmm.
everything else. We don't have big windows in the operating room, except this was one that had an observation suite that was very much controlled and behind locked doors. So it wasn't like anybody
Hmm.
could come walking through.
Yeah, yeah.
But I could feel when he came in the surgical suite, and
Mm.
that was coming through about three doors to get into the surgery.
Wow.
So
Wow.
it was like a kind of a hello, wake up call that you have some capabilities and abilities that you're not really using right now.
Hmm.
And it kind of woke everything up as far as my intuitive medical abilities. And it kind of reminded me, it's like, yeah, you've always been like this. So
Mm.
it was a lot more interesting after then. I would get information that I had no way of knowing. And it was always information that I could use to help my patients. So I was all good with it. So,
Hmm. Hmm. Wow. And thank you for sharing that. So I've heard other stories of childhood gifts
mhm.
that they have to stuff down or are dismissed by the adults around them. And
Yes.
then they go dormant for the bulk of of the
Mhm.
life of this child until something flicks it back on for whatever reason. And
Yep.
everybody's situation is different, but that is kind of a sad story to hear so many times over and over and over.
It is because we all are born with intuition. If you want to go back to, prehistoric caveman times, that's how they kind of survived. You
Mm,
have to
good point.
be in tune with all of your senses and your intuition and notice when the rest of the animals in the area are quiet because there's some big predator. So I think all of us have intuition. It's just we have been encouraged and told, oh, you can't rely on that.
Yes,
And
yes.
I have to say that, yeah, I use my intuition a lot in situationally in dealing with people, not just patients, but
Mm-hmm.
people. And my current fail-safe, who also gives me information, is my dog, who
Wow.
knows the
I love
people who
that.
are the good people when we're out and about walking. And I do pay attention to him when even as he's a puppy still, but he
Mm-hmm.
gets in front of me when he doesn't really care for someone that
Mm.
we're running into. So the
And I'm
intuition is
guessing
there.
other people have had similar experiences with their pets.
I
Their
bet
pets
they
know
have.
before they do.
They
But
do.
again, they might dismiss it like, ah, just calm
Exactly.
down. But they're trying to give you a message.
Exactly.
This
Exactly.
person's energy is not what we
Not
want,
what
you
you
know?
want. So,
Wow. And I love that you felt the Dalai Lama without even looking to see. You weren't using your eyes,
so,
you were picking it up through your senses.
right.
And the fact that his energy precedes him, his
Right.
energy bubble, and we all have that. We all have this energy that precedes us and radiates out. We just tend to forget that.
Right. Yeah, we do. And for as far as I'm concerned, the trick is honoring and using what you have. And that's what I did. I used mine. After that encounter, I would really pay attention to the patients that I got this sensation that this is not going to be easy or something's
Mm,
about to go down. And I can tell you that for patients that I took care of, that I paid attention to those intuitive hits, it was always 100% that,
wow.
yeah, something went down, that I had to do um, extra measures, needed extra work, needed extra attention. Um, I tried sometimes with some of my anesthesia colleagues when I would see a patient, because I would call it the patient had the look of
Mm,
something was going to be trouble. And I
hmm.
would try to pass on to my anesthesia colleagues that, this may not be really straightforward. And I have to say that many of them said, yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah, I
Then they
bet.
would find me later and go, you're kind of right about that person. So
Wow.
yeah.
So
So
let me ask you this. Did you have a fear of sharing that information with your colleagues?
I did because, medicine is very hierarchical, very much
Hmm.
science based. And, at the time when I was early in my practice, there just wasn't a lot of emphasis on intuition, using anything other than science to
Hmm. Hmm.
interface, or treat with patients. And things are shifting now. I mean, I got a very interesting um, training email from Harvard University where they're actually teaching people about using complementary and alternative techniques in conjunction with healthcare. I've always personally
Mm.
believed that it's the synergy of complementary and alternative
Yes,
techniques
yes.
and Western techniques that
Hmm.
are going to yield far superior results. So that's how I've conducted myself since fellowship when I had this encounter. That's been like 25 years,
Hmm.
over
Hmm.
25 years ago now. But a lot of people still are hesitant to use the mind body spirit connection. And I've always been a person that believes you use what you got and what you're good
Hmm.
at. And I look at it as a superpower of mine, and I've always used it in my practice to help my patients achieve superior results. And now that I'm shifting to a different aspect of whole patient care, I use it with my clients as well because we focus on not just the facts, and I give them the facts when I'm coaching patients for surgery. And I focus on working women because women make 85% of the healthcare decisions in their family.
Mm. Mm.
So I focus on getting them the factual information about the surgery, what they can expect, nuts and bolts about that. And when we have that part taken care of, I then focus on the intangible, which is okay, these are the things that you can do with your intention and your focus that will positively affect your outcome. Because everybody wants good
Mm.
outcomes.
Right.
And again, a lot of things happen by accident. I kind of stumbled on all of this after having a surgery myself. I had an ACL and a meniscus tear after doing some really crazy stuff on a double black mountain in 14 inches of powder. Had a teacher, but I had a little encounter and wound up having to have surgery. And at this point, I was teaching yoga before work. I was well into the eight limbs of yoga, including meditation as well as the postures. So I did a lot of focus work and focusing on the intention that I wanted, which was I need to get back skiing because this sitting
Mm.
around is just not working for me. So that was my goal. That was my focus. That was what I wanted. And I intended, and I told myself that I'm not going to have a lot of pain. I'm going to recover quickly. Things are going to go well, and I'm going to be back to doing what I want to do. That was
Mm.
my focus because being an anesthesiologist, I wasn't as fearful because I had the facts.
Right.
And I knew that, what you focus on expands. That's one of the
Mm.
golden rules of the universe. So if you focus on things that you fear and things that you're upset about, you get more of that. I mean, that's kind of universal law, and the universe will give you what you focus on. So I knew that it was important for me to choose positive, helpful things to focus on before my surgery. And that's what I did. Things went well. I did a lot of prehab work making
Ooh, I
sure
love that.
that my muscles and tendons that were not involved in the injury were continue to be worked. I made sure that as best I could, I got lymphatic massage to decrease the
Mm.
swelling in the leg where I had the injury. And I guess I realized that things had gone really well. I picked my anesthetic. I did a regional anesthetic with the spinal because I just didn't want to go off to sleep. And I knew that, there's other ways to control pain other than a lot of narcotic, which I also didn't want. And I knew that I was on the road to things being better when my surgeon said, things went really well in that surgery. I don't know what happened. And I'm like, oh, they went well because I decided that they
Oh,
were going.
I love that. Oh
So,
my gosh.
recovered quickly, went, in 5 months after surgery, I was climbing on a glacier with crampons. And less than a year later, I was skiing on
Wow.
blue runs.
Wow.
I let the double blacks go, but skiing on blue runs and happily on my way. And years later, a coworker said, Dr. Such and such has let everybody know that you're the poster child for what you should do to recover from surgery. And I kind of had modified what I'd done for myself with my patients in terms of positive self-talk that I did for them before they had their procedure. And that's how I realized that, yeah, this is something that is easily applicable to a wide number of people, not just the people in my operating room. And that was the impetus for me forming my business, which is Oshun Energy Medicine, which is, for me, it represents the intersection of Western medicine and intuitive, alternative, and complementary work.
Love
So it's
that.
something I'm really passionate about, and it is a different way of going about the whole healing process that involves the patient and
Mm-hmm.
mindset,
Mm-hmm.
intuition, and attention to what you want rather than focusing on the fear of what you want to avoid.
My gosh, I love all of that.
Yeah,
I love that you're coming at these things from a proactive, in advance, positive mindset, making the decision, this is how it's going to go for me, instead
exactly.
of being a passive participant that gets sucked into the procedure, the issue, whatever.
Right. And, it's one of the realities of what our healthcare system does right now. Our healthcare system is very process oriented.
Hmm.
It's okay, get you from point A to point B to point C. And because of insurance concerns,
Yes.
there's always the time limit. So a lot of times, if you don't have the correct questions at the tip of your tongue, you
Yes.
don't get them answered. Everybody
Yeah.
is given, okay, this is what they need, and they need to be told this, and they need to be told that, but it's not necessarily everything that you want to find out.
Hmm.
So, what I try to do is, given that I do have experience with the procedures, I try to anticipate the other things that people don't know that they need, such as you got to prepare your home, you got to prepare your support network. These are the facts about your process, and it goes better for you if you have a list of questions for your surgeon before you go in, because um, surgeons are pressed for time, and office hours are necessary, but their time mainly is spent in the operating room. That's where they
Hmm.
do the bulk of their work. So my goal is to work efficiently with the surgeon and the patient and help them get the best results possible. And that's really the goal of my business is, the pain point is I don't know what's going on. I'm afraid. So I want to
Hmm.
take care of, let me get you as much information as possible outside the system of normal appointments. I can give you supportive information, supportive help, mindset work, and
Hmm.
work in a focused fashion for 6 weeks around your surgery, which will prepare you and also get you through the first part of your recovery, because those are really critical times. And what a lot of people don't realize is that it's not just the work that the surgeon does. It is you. You're kind of
Yeah.
co-creating the
Yeah.
outcome that you want, much as
Love
we
that.
co-create with the universe the outcome that you want. You're co-creating with your surgeon the outcome
Hmm.
that you want, and you want to go back to your regular life doing
Yeah.
things that you love, and the surgeon wants you to have a good outcome because they can talk about all of the wonderful outcomes that I've had doing
Hmm.
this surgery. So it's a matter of not only working with clients and their fear, now that I'm doing the coaching as a business, working with clients and their fear and getting them information and getting them support, but also letting them know that, hey, we're all a part of this team, including the surgeon, to help you get the result that you need so you can go out and live your big, beautiful life and talk about
Love that.
you. Yeah.
Because sometimes I feel people, patients have a disconnect. They feel powerless.
Right.
They can't see the whole picture. They're dealing
Right.
with fear, like you said. And
Mhm.
I love that you're like the bridge or the thread that brings all of that into something that I would love to have you by my side when I was going through some surgery, like that, you got the proactive, the self-talk, the information, the resources, and then you're going to be by my side into the future as I help my body recover.
Exactly.
Again,
And
we're not turning it over to you, or we're not turning
right.
it over to the surgeon. We have to take that ownership ourselves. And I love collaboration. It's a collaboration and a dance between everybody.
Right. And that you have hit on it exactly. And that's how I saw it, because I mean that's how I see my when I was doing anesthesia. I saw all of the teamwork that was involved to get a patient from before surgery to the surgery and then into recovery and then out the door. I saw that there is that same teamwork spirit that was needed from the patient side to get the patient from a support, information, and relief standpoint with my business, because I'm going to get you the things that you need to be successful in what you want, which is to get through your surgery without a lot of fear, with the maximum amount of information so that you can
Hmm.
get to rehab and return to your life.
Right.
And for me, everything is about the icing and the sauce, the extra. If I'm showing you things that can be a benefit in the future, that's the sauce. That's not the purpose. But I really feel that as a person who lives the energetic life, that you really do have to be aware of how your actions and your thoughts and how you go about living your life creates your life.
Hmm.
And when
Hmm.
you go from being fearful and distrustful and anxious, that's the part of your life that's going to expand.
Hmm.
So I believe in living a life of positivity and possibility, and using that as the focus to improving outcomes, not only for surgery, but how you approach life in general.
No, yeah, for sure. Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it. Now, if like I have a daughter coming into surgery, like actually in like a day or two, and I
Mhm.
wish I had this information before that to kind of share with her, which I am going to take parts of this and share with her.
Right.
But I love that you are available to share in that collaborative dance. How
Yes.
can people get a hold of you if they're doing like me, like, oh yeah, I want her in my corner?
Right. Well, I have a website. The website is oshunenergymedicine.com, www.oshunenergymedicine.com. I offer a chat before people commit to the 6 week surgery coaching package. My secondary package is a shorter, abbreviated version of the coaching and support package because it's not just about, well, I'm just going to hand you a document and goodbye. It's, I'm going to be walking this walk with you, answering your questions, could, helping you cope with what you have coming up and helping you get your family and your network involved in helping you move
Mm,
forward because it's about community. I mean that's really what life is about. When you have a successful support community around you, it makes life so
hmm.
much easier for
Yeah.
surgery and for other
Yes.
things as
Yes.
well.
For
So
sure.
yeah, I focus primarily on reaching out to people who are patients having surgery. So I that's my client base, but I also am starting to reach out to medical facilities, medical practices, because everybody wants their patients to do well
Yeah. Yeah.
in a clinic where their constraints are based on billable hours and 15-minute appointments, et cetera, et
Yeah.
cetera, et cetera. I operate outside that structure. And yes, it is a separate fee-based service that I offer, but I think that the value added for what you get in terms of what the surgeon is going to get added to his hard work or her hard work is that you're going to have somebody who's dedicated to the patient and their
Hmm.
mindset and well-being and get that in line with the excellent medical care. And that's how you get the superior outcome. And that's
Yeah.
something, again, I found it out with myself. It's something that I found when I did this with my, when I was doing anesthesia with my patients, that I found out from the recovery room nurses everybody is really happy and they're ready to move forward and into their recovery period because yeah, I did the really condensed version of this with all of my patients when I was doing anesthesia and really had some amazing results. So again, that was the start of what I'm
Hmm.
doing now as a full-time business.
Well, they were lucky people for sure to have connected with you and had their journey intersect with your journey. Now, I do want to ask you the word Oshun, is that the
Ah,
word? Yeah, tell me about that word.
okay,
Oshun.
Oshun is a Yoruba deity or Orisha is the name the African name for it, and it is actually she's the deity that is in charge of beauty, sweet waters, also concerned of mankind.
Mm,
One of the things I do for fun is Afro-Brazilian dance.
love
And
it.
she is one of the major deities that is involved in the traditional dance of Brazil. I've been to Brazil to study dance and anticipate going there again. And it was, she was the Orisha that called to me most strongly when I was doing my business. I consulted with my teachers who are uh, certified Afro-Brazilian dance teachers and from Salvador Bahia, Brazil, and got their blessing when I told them that, yeah, I'm thinking about naming this business Oshun Energy Medicine, just because that's the culture that really had a significant impact on me um, as and my personal growth and as well as my artistic growth, and really has given me a really firm foundation and grounding, just kind of energetically, personally, um, spiritually. It is the basis of what I do. And it is really empowering to be so culturally grounded.
Mm,
Eventually, I'd like to go to West Africa. I would like to go to places where the Odisha originated. But I guess just from a cultural standpoint, I look at it as the Odisha as horrible as the mid-Atlantic slave trade was, the Orisha came with the people across the ocean and served as a source of comfort and spirituality as they were thrown into horrible things and
Hmm.
a
Hmm.
world that was not of their own choosing.
Right, right.
And that I found that sense of joy and stability in the people of Bahia when I was there. And
Mm.
it's been an experience in terms of the visit, in terms of the dance, in terms of the cultural activities that has really changed my life. So
Oh,
I
wow.
really wanted to pay homage to that tradition and acknowledge that it still plays a huge part in my life.
Oh, thank you. That is just so beautiful. And I love that you've woven all parts of yourself into this business that you've created in the name, in what you offer people. That is just so beautiful.
Thank you.
So I want everybody listening to reach out to Kay and connect with her and get a little taste of her beautiful energy, which you got here today. And is there anything you want to, any final thoughts you want to share with us, Kay?
I really enjoy doing these podcasts because it gives me an opportunity to kind of step out of a normal environment that I would be in and let people know about what I do. And so thank you for this opportunity to speak to people because it is a really different business. I have to say, I don't know anybody in my current area, which is Seattle, Washington. I don't know
Hmm.
anybody who's doing what I'm doing. I've had more than one person say, nobody's doing this. And I'm like, I know. So it's nice to be unique, but
Hmm.
there's also that generation point that you're in where you're trying to get your momentum to make people more aware of what you're doing. So that's kind of where I
Yeah,
am right now.
yeah. I was just
So
going to say,
yeah,
just being able to articulate it to other people so they understand
right,
more what you're
right.
doing, what you're
And
offering.
and so it's not just to potential clients that I reach out to. I love to talk to particularly women's groups again because women
Mm,
make so many of the healthcare decisions in their families. And also because what I saw in my pre-op area was women taking care of everybody
yeah.
but themselves. They
Yes.
get to the operating room and they're terrified. And I literally
Mm,
would have to do breath work, mindset, everything in a condensed 5-10 minute little package. And they did well, but I'm like, I can do better.
mm.
Do better with a little bit more time.
A little
So
bit more lead time, huh?
exactly. So yeah, I love to talk to professional women's groups, community groups, anybody who, because anybody could have surgery,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
a small exclusive group. So I like to make as many people aware of what I'm doing with my business and the problems that I can help you address so that you can get back to your life and living the life that you want after your surgery.
Which is everybody's ultimate goal. That
Exactly.
quality of life we want back.
Right.
And I just want to emphasize to our listeners, we all have unique gifts that
Yeah,
only we can bring to the world.
absolutely.
And yours is different from mine, who's different from, every other person. And sometimes we're the only ones that can bring the way we weave things together to the world in our own ways. So,
Exactly.
um,
I tell people if you're walking on this earth, you've got a special gift
mhm.
that you can offer to your
Yes,
family, your community, and maybe even your world. So
yes,
always
exactly.
think you're one in a million.
Yes, for sure. I totally agree with that. So thank you so much, Kay. This has been so insightful, so enjoyable. I've learned a lot from you. I hope our listeners have as well. And if anyone listening feel a need to share this episode with somebody who can benefit, please share it. Pass it on to them. And I have a little little sign that I have to use to remind myself and everybody else, if you like what you heard, subscribe. If you want to share, as I said, please share. If you have a comment and a thought that came up while you're listening to our conversation, please make a comment. We would love to hear from you. Thank you so much, Kay. We will take your information, drop it in the show notes so people have it easily available so you can connect with Kay. And I encourage everybody to do that.
All
Thank
right.
you so much, Kay.
So welcome, Teresa.
Thank you to everybody listening. And we will see you on another episode of Evolving Women. Bye bye.
Bye.